Hello friends, I'm Colonel Failure. Welcome back to Motorsport Manager and the second season, in charge of Bulldozer Power. We just finished our latest race in Munich, and we had a bit of a mixed bag as far as performance was concerned. It didn't look like we were going to do very well, but we actually managed to end up with Vanessa Silveira finishing in 5th. Hazel there finishing down in 16th. But Hazel's got a long way to go yet. He's a very, very young driver. He's only 16 years of age. He's going to prove his worth in the fullness of time. And in the team standings, this puts us in a very respectable 7th place, with 4th not unimaginable at this point, although we will need opposing teams to slip up if we're to do any better than we are right now. So Gary, once again, is up in my inbox complaining about the condition of the car. Well, that's okay, Gary. Just go get it fixed. It's pretty straightforward. We knacker it every time we go out. You might as well get it fixed. Meanwhile, Michel Dupont from Motorsportif. What have you got for us? Use team orders in a race, which is something that fans are not particularly keen on. What do you have to say to them? I hate to use team orders, but in this case, I was left with very little choice. And to be honest, I won't be using them again, given how badly young Nicholas executed them. He lost like 4 or 5 places as a result of trying to let his teammate through. He let through half the other cars still in the race. Meanwhile, Jiro Kagawa from Motor Racing Magazine is talking about the people who are doing well. Good for them. Gary's now finished the car. We can go and have a look and see how it's getting on over in the workshop. So if we have a look at the parts we've currently got being improved, we've got our new suspension, which is being worked on, up to 52% reliability. Take it higher, please. And the better of our 2 standard engines, also still having its reliability being worked on. And that job won't actually be finished until 13 days after the race is complete, and that's far from ideal. Because we've got a lot of work to do on parts. Much of what we're driving with right now, it really isn't very good. So that's something we've got to keep an eye on. I'd like to get this gearbox up a little bit more in the reliability stakes. But meanwhile, we've actually got some research being done. We're working on a new engine, and that will be done in a mere 4 hours' time. And here it is. It is beauty. 95 of 108 performance. So we're not actually going to get much more performance out of it. But only 40% reliability. Now, we've got 23 days before we head to Milan for the next Grand Prix. But I'd like to get at least another 10% performance into the engine by that time. Now, with the existing stuff that I've got, let's have a look here, engines. So we're up to, well, we've got 56 on the, yeah, I'm going to stop working on that one. You no longer need to be worked on. I want to get the new suspension up. I also want to get the new engine going as well. If we can get them both past 60%, I'll be extremely happy, but I can't see that happening. We'll just have to see how we get on. What this does mean is that I now have the ability to design something else new. We've still got 8 million in the bank. Should be enough to get us through the season, one would hope. And what do we want to build? So I've got fresh suspension, I've got some brakes, I've got some gearbox, and I've got some engine pre-built. I think we will go with, I don't know. Let's go for a better gearbox. I'm a gearbox obsessive, largely because if you screw up at any point, the gearbox is what allows you to recover your position. And out of every corner, you're going to want a good gearbox. So we can now build a second stage gearbox in here. Let's have a look. Right, so for slot 1, we pick one of these, and then for slot 2, we pick one of those. Right, well, for slot 1, I don't want any risk in this particular part. Now, some of you have suggested that actually I should be building risky parts and just not using them this season, because at the end of the season, that builds the baseline part that I have in stock. And so all of that risk is it just evaporates into the breeze. Not a bad idea, but it's not what I'm going to do. Right, let's go with, those two are both risky, so we go with extra reliability. Well, that's boring. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it. We'll go with reliability. And I think having an additional 40 points to the max acceleration is probably a good way to go. What else have we got here as an option? Less reliability, better acceleration. Yeah, negligible. Or we could go very, very reliable. That's boring as well. Build time less. No, I think we go with an additional 40 points to maximum acceleration, and then we'll just research that up. But that's a hell of a gearbox if we can get it done, and it will be ready 6 days before the race. It's costing me £1 million, which isn't cheap, but that could have pretty strong performance. So the World Motorsport Championship reports back from Beijing, where it's just completed its third round in the series, and Carl Johnson comes out on top with Mostly Sane and A. Veloz finishing out the top three. 8.6 is still number one in the standings overall, with just 17 points, putting Walter White and Mr. Bergman there immediately behind. So it's pretty close at the top of the standings there right now. If we look over on the teams, Kitano Sport is ahead, but only by 2 points. It's very early in the season, and there are no clear leaders right now. So ahead of next week's vote, we've been asked by the World Sports Network to give our view on Beijing being added to the calendar. We will obviously take the interview there. What do I think? I'd love to see Beijing. I haven't decided yet, or I'm against it. What the heck? Bit of variety, new track, totally. That's a very categorical answer. Can you say for certain the addition of Beijing Track A Grand Prix will be a good thing for you there at Bulldozer Power? 100%. Can't wait to see it implemented. I like it. Yeah, I'm quietly confident. No, let's be very confident. We are very confident. There we are. I have no idea what that track's actually like, but I am super confident that it's a good thing. So Octane Racing have apparently finished their factory, spending £8 million in the process. Well, bully for them. It's nice to have £8 million to blow on a factory. Actually, I think I spent something similar to that reasonably recently, so I should probably just shut up. Meanwhile, Lisa Amorosi from Gazzetta dei Motori. So time again, the GMAs are going to meet for the first time this year. 10 bosses talking about things that have a huge impact allegedly next season. So I'm looking forward to the political cut and thrust of what's about to come up. Here we go. Anna is informing me that it's time to vote about whether we care about Beijing being added or not. Let's do it. Hard to predict what impact this race will have on the sport. So I'm going to vote for easy peasy. There we go. I can't imagine that there'll be many people voting against. Oh, okay. Because, we visit two tracks twice currently. Beijing, no, not Beijing. Black Sea we visit twice. And I think we visit Munich twice as well. So it would be nice to actually get a bit more variety in there. And there we go. It's passed. Excellent. Beijing, next season. I look forward to it. So Anna's come back with a brief report on the next race in Milan. It's going to be a 21-lap race, quite a lengthy lap. And the lap record's pretty quick. Isn't going to be a fast old race. And it's showing 40% chance of rain, which typically means it's going to be raining. Freddie Cooper, meanwhile, is asking for a telemetry centre. Yeah, some things never change. The lack of a telemetry centre being just one of them. And the gearbox has been completed. Performance 110, yes. Reliability starting at 55%. I'm very pleased with that. Let's have a look and see what we've got going on here. So there we go. We've got two well-performing gearboxes now. I've been working this suspension up just a little because we had a set of suspension that was starting at like 48%. That's no good, that is. We'll take that out. We'll put the new gearbox in just to see if we can get an extra couple of percent onto its reliability ahead of the race. Now, both gearboxes are actually just as good under the current regime. Obviously, after a bit of dialing up, the new one that I've just built should be much, much better. But we've got to find the time and the mechanics somehow in order to do that. The other thing worthy of consideration is our brakes here. 46% for Nick's brakes. That's going to be a bit of a worry. But reliability is king at present. So the WMC has now completed its race in Tondela, clearly having a very busy schedule in order to get all the races done in the season. And Shoot finishes up first, gaining 10 points. Shoot was a regular at the top of the league last season. Hasn't really managed to find his form yet, but with this win, maybe that will turn things around. Veloz once again in second. Reaper 86, the current leader of the championship, manages a very good third place. It's still mixing around a lot, but Panther now have the 1-2 spot in the Drivers' Championships, with Johnson, White, Don and Bergman snapping at their heels. In the Asia Pacific Super Cup, Tallulah Hawk comes out with the win from Doha in the third round of the season, with Carlo T. Curious and Cole Minotti second and third, respectively. Wolfbite is still top of the table, double the points over Hawk, whose win there drags them out from, pretty much complete unknown status this season to be a contender in second. Wolfbite is going to take quite some beating. But you've got Pixelated down in seventh, who is Bite's teammate, who should be looking to move up, given that they are both on the same team. One would expect the car to be of similar performance. So with just 3 days to go before the new Grand Prix, we'll get another new design on the go, and I think we will probably go for brakes, given that the secondary set of brakes we have right now are, well, arguably doesn't even come into it. They're not very good. So let's have a look and see what we can get now. I mean, they also take no time at all to develop. So deceleration and reliability, yes, thank you. I'll take that as my first stage. And in the second stage, we can get less reliable, better deceleration on particular tyres. Thanks, Fred. Good to see you bringing something to the party. But extra 15 to maximum deceleration, an extra 20 default. That's pretty exciting. And in reliability, an extra 35% on the red zone and 50% reliability. That's pretty good too. To be honest, I will take the performance and we'll use our mechanics to try and beef up the actual capabilities, the reliability of the thing. That's probably going to be the way to go. Not inexpensive, but neither is this the priciest thing we're ever going to build. Kurt is here, and he's extremely concerned about the state of the team's finances. There's still a long way to go this season, and the coffers aren't looking healthy. You need the money to last. I hope it won't impact the performance in the final few races. We're still in the first few races there, Curtis, old son. And don't worry, I will be hitting you up later in the season for some financial injection of sorts. And while we're on the subject, we'll have a look and see how long we've got left on our existing sponsors. 3 races left for Big Doe. Very nice. HX Telecoms is up in 2 races' time, and those are the ones we're going to see immediately. But then we've got Ishikawa Whiskey and Acres here, who are both going to expire before the season ends. And hopefully we'll be able to negotiate a nice chunk of change from them up front. But it sounds to me as though Kurt's done his sums, and we are likely to be running out of cash before the end of the season, so I should probably stop monkeying around developing parts willy-nilly. So we are off to Milan, and before we go there, I need to decide which parts we're going to fit to what in order to best benefit from anything at all. Suspension, we'll stick this suspension back in the garage there. I managed to get the new gearbox up to 71% reliability, which should be more than enough, provided my driver is not a complete fool. Can't rule out that the drivers are complete fools. Nicholas Hazel is unhappy. I don't care. Vanessa is content. Right, okay, so what have we got here? We've got the new gearbox. Let's fit some parts here. Brakes on Silvera. We're going to give Silvera the better car. Obviously, she is our number one driver, and therefore we want her to have the number one opportunity for greatness. Let's switch these around. If in fact anything that's troubled us so far has been, by and large, reliability. So as we are progressing now, I'm optimistic that our reliability is gonna improve. I mean, we've got some very reliable gearbox going on here. Less reliable, but a bit more performy. I think we'll go with performance. We'll chance it, despite everything that I just said. If you're not trying, you're not driving, or something to that effect. There we go. Cars coming along a little bit. They're looking a bit naff, boss. They're not looking a bit naff. We've worked very hard on those. These are what's going to lead us to glory. Lead you to glory. Get some glory for me. I need some. So it's choices as we go into the next race. Do we go with, ACUS are offering me almost a race's worth of money to finish in 6th or above. And oddly, I would have gained that had I taken it for the last race. Or we play it safe and take 150. Historically, I always play it safe. I'm not going to. I'm gonna go for the big money. It's very unlikely that we will land it, but on the off chance that we do, I want to land it. That's how that's going to work. So here we go. We're off to Milan. Stick around. The race is coming right up. So it's a beautiful hazy morning as we go into the practice for this Grand Prix. It's a very, very fast track, and we are sure to be hammering the parts that we've added. I'm hoping that the reliability is not going to be a factor, but you never know. The weather forecast for this practice session looks like it will stay dry, at least in the first stage, so we will outfit our drivers accordingly. Now, despite it being completely inappropriate, we're going to give Nick Hazel very high downforce. It's wrong for this track. I know it, you know it, we collectively know it. But I want to get the measurement. This new system of trying out the car is working for us at the moment. So I'm going to make it so that by working from extremes, we should get a good idea pretty quickly about where we need to get to. We're going to go out on the fastest of the fast soft tyres that we've brought with us for this weekend, since the weather forecast is currently positive. Looking at Vanessa's car, we're going to do something very similar. Now, she's, interestingly enough, that looks very wrong to me. I think we're going to want 24 degrees of rear wing and 14 of front wing, and I reckon she'll be quite happy with that overall. Meanwhile, on the handling side of things, we'll go with understeer again, which sits about there, and the speed balance is actually pretty much where I want it. Let's see how we get on with that. I imagine I'll have to make changes, but so often is that the case. We'll go with the soft tyres there as well. It should be good. So Hazel's on his way out, as is Silvera, as is Silvera. Yes, there we go. Don't mess around, get it going. We don't need to save any of the parts that we've brought with us. Just absolutely hammer it. We're immediately going to bring them in this lap as well to see what they think, or are we going to let them have an out lap? I will decide momentarily, and we'll follow our first driver on the track, see if we get anything from them before we bring them in for the first time. I'm not getting any speeds in the straights. Do we have too much aero on the car? Oh, I guarantee it. I promise you, there is way too much aero on the car. So Hazel's back into the pits. He didn't really gain much knowledge, but he's not a very knowledgeable individual to begin with. He doesn't like the downforce, does like the handling, doesn't like the speed balance. I think we can change that. Right, if we crank this down to around a 14.6 and a 24.6, actually that's a pretty severe change. But it feels on a track like this, I think that might work quite well. Gear ratios, meanwhile, well, we'll bring this into reality in some fashion, which is probably going to be about there, and get the just tweak the handling ever so slightly, and that should be good. Get back out there and have brilliant performance. Meanwhile, Silvera, what's Vanessa got to say for herself? Not happy with the downforce. Well, I could have foreseen that, but does like the speed balance. Okay, so we're in the sweet spot with the speed balance. We're going to need even less downforce, even more downforce. That's right, I know what I'm talking about. We'll go 15.6 there. Not quite so radical. Hopefully that she'll be able to make that work. Let's tweak the handling a smidge and adjust the gear ratio accordingly. So Hans 00 is just set a 117 in practice. Given that the lap record is a 116 and change, looks like they're already performing pretty well. But for those of you who are regular fans of Bulldozer Power, you will know already that practice means absolutely nothing, and that frequently your car will perform completely differently in the race to the way it does in practice. Both drivers are letting me know that the changes to downforce that I implemented are doing just lovely. Thank you very much. And while we won't record a lap time yet, I want to bring them in for one final tweak to try and get the car into the best possible position before the race. So a great there from Hazel. You see, I mean, I'm not sure which way he wants the downforce to go from there. Is it going to be up? Is it going to be down? I honestly could not tell you. Yeah, you see, I went too far. He might have gone beyond where the sweet spot is. So what we will do instead is we will adjust the handling ever so slightly. We'll leave his downforce where it is. Let's just double check here. Yeah, a bit more oversteer going on, and we'll tweak the speed balance out just a little bit towards top speed. In fact, not quite that much. We'll go down by 1 and see where that gets us. Plenty of life left in the tyres. Get back out there. Vanessa, meanwhile, let's see what she's got to say for herself. Pretty good on the downforce, pretty good on the handling, pretty good on the speed balance. I think I should probably leave it alone, but I can't help myself but tweak things a little bit. So I think, as far as handling is concerned, we can possibly just oversteer a little more, and that might make all the difference. Nice, 5 seconds to make all the changes. She'll be out pretty swiftly. There she goes now. We'll give her a maximum attack mode. Well, no, not maximum attack mode. Reasonable, respectable attack mode for this, which will be both of their collective final stints out here in practice. I'm going to keep the car set up as it is. There may be more changes to be made, but to be honest, I want these drivers getting familiar with the cars as we head into the race itself, hopefully to lead to a better position overall. So Hazel's asking if we can change the handling back. Silvera's saying she's absolutely loving the gear ratios. This is good news for us. But what's her lap time? Coming at a 119, that's pretty terrible. Hazel's coming at a 120. But as you know, an awful lot can change in the race itself. We can make a big difference while we're in race, while other cars are crashing. Not to mention, of course, our always sterling pit stop strategy. And 13th place, honestly, is about where we should be finishing if we want to maintain our team position for the year. Silvera there recording another lap time. Didn't really make much of an improvement over the previous one. Both drivers largely pleased with the cars, but we won't know how well they are set up and how well the drivers' heads are in the game until race day. So confirming what we already knew, Vanessa there finishing in 13th. The best time of the day was Hans 00 on a 116. That's 3 seconds faster. I'm sure we'll be competitive. Almost sure. Hazel there down in 17th. Not the end of the world. It'll be fine. So the media report comes in and we'll see what we got. So Assi Signal Nicholas Hazel is nowhere near good enough to drive in the European Racing Series. That's what we like about the internet. Everyone gets to have their say. Hitoyoshi Nasu there. Pretty lame practice session from Bulldozer Power. Slightly unimpressed face chosen as the emoji. Fatima Sanchez, that was okay from Bulldozer Power. I guess we'll find out their real place on Sunday. Yes. And the Evening Herald with Arnold Boycott. He switched paper. Impressive stuff from Espen Roe in the Ozu Motor Team car. Looks like they've got their setup nailed this weekend. Well, we'll soon find out as we head into the race itself. Starting out with some drizzle. We're going to need to look at the forecast and see whether this is going to persist or not. There's not a lot of water on the track right now, but after 4 laps, you can be fairly certain there will be water on the track. We've got good experience with soft tyres and race trim. Well, I guess that's what we'll take then, isn't it? Right, let's go to car setup here. The overall setup. Oh, Hazel's not liking the changes to handling that we made. So I think we'll tweak it. We'll tweak it back as it was before. He preferred that, and we'll just see how he gets on with that. Now I'm going to put him out for the long term. I'm going to use a. He's going to do 16 to 18 laps on wets. Goodness gracious me, that's a long time. He is going to lose out early on in the race. Can do 9 laps. Interesting. No, we're going to start on inters. It's a gamble. I'm going to start both drivers on inters. You can have the full fuel set up there. I'm becoming less confident of this as I'm saying it out loud, but we're going to set Vanessa up on inters as well, and then as far as fuel is concerned, we're actually going to drop the fuel to about 6 laps. We're going to come in very, very early. The plan here is a simple one. We're going to do our short fuel lap at the beginning, see which way the weather pans out so that we can get in and make the correct tyre choice before everyone else. Now, this only fails if the weather, which as you can see is going to stay rainy for the first 4 laps at least, if the weather shifts around lap 7 or lap 8, that's the sweet spot. But if it's around lap 9 or lap 10, Silvera may have to make an additional pit stop, and that will be a very bad thing. But, you know, go big, go home, go to the shops. That's how we like to do things here at Bulldozer Power, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to push hard from the get-go. We don't need fuel. Tyres are all good. In fact, using inters, let's just hammer it. To start with, we'll tweak that up as we move through the race. So there we go. Shaw Longo front row of the grid, Megahertz, Steve Mush on the second row, then Hazel next to Swans Plastic. On the 4th row, you've got Trolley Fodder and Maiko Kitasato with a broken neck. Finger Puppet also broken neck. With Reverend Plastic. Then P. Ruto, Derek Henderson for Ozu Motor Team on the 6th row. Hong Liao and Sine Mendez, then Hans 00 and Vanessa, your hero and mine, there on the 8th row. Espen Roe, Sarah Thomas, Scott Price, Play Moto at the back of the grid. It's race day. I don't know why we're watching Hazel. He's terrible at racing. And typical slow start from Hazel, but he hasn't done as badly as he did last time round. Last time round he lost like 3-4 places off the grid. He's already picked back up 4th. This is a strong start from the young buck. But you know, how's he going to handle it? Because he's got a long time to spend up front. Vanessa's already dropped a place. And she's down to 19th. I don't know what's going on at the back of the pack. We'll stay up the front here because this is where the accident's going to happen. Surely those 3 cars working side by side at the moment, that has got to lead to disaster, and I want to see it. Hazel now down to 6th. Hazel now down to 7th. Hazel is not going to be getting this done. How can it be that my cars are so woefully set up? Hazel now down to 8th. What the hell is going on? How's the car so badly set up? I don't understand in the slightest, especially since we're telling them there's been a crash. Megahertz and Chris Shaw have both crashed. We've got a yellow flag, but everybody seems to be ignoring it. So I will do as well. Let's up to full race speed now. But as you can see there, Silvera is on the same screen as Hazel. So that basically means that they are incredibly close to one another on the track. It is properly bunched up, and that's got to be as a result of the amount of rain going on. Hazel now down to 11th. My goodness me, he really does suck. Let's have a look at the water on the track. It's picking up, but around lap 6, the rain will stop, which is around exactly the same time that Silvera is going to be coming in. It looks like I may have pulled an absolute belter of a strategy here. So we're going to take it easy. You can hammer the tyres all you like, but we should probably ease off on the engine a little to try and conserve that. She's not going to conserve the fuel. Not in the current state of affairs. She's going to need to be in quite soon. We better switch to watching Silvera here. She's got under a lap of fuel left. She's going to have to come in. There's no other way to describe it. We've got 2 laps of wetness coming up. I can't put her out on intermediate. Can't do it. Just can't do it. Can't do it. She has to stay out for longer. So we're going to go with medium tyres. She's going to gripe about it. She's not going to be happy. Fill it right up with fuel. I think we're possibly coming in a little early, and that's an issue that has developed as a result of my having had her hammering the acceleration from the get-go. Meanwhile, park condition, aside from suspension, which looks a little on the dubious side, but I believe it was dubious coming into the race, everything looks dandy. We'll take a balanced pit stop. No need to take a risk at this stage of the thing. So there we go. She's in now. Let's make this clean. Make it clean. Clean, clean, clean. And coming back out 3 places down. In fact, back of the grid. Doesn't really matter though. She is going to have that early mover advantage over the other cars by having come in early. But only if the rain holds off and the track doesn't get much wetter. There we are, already complaining about the weather. She's just going to have to suck it up. Meanwhile, Hazel, we're going to, what are we looking at here? Another lap and a bit. We'll keep him on max attack for now. We'll drop his nose. We'll press the right button and drop his tyre wear just a smidge in order to get him in just as the rain is easing off. This is a chancy strategy, but I'm fairly confident it's going to pay off maybe. But right now, finishing 6th or above looks incredibly unlikely. Come in and get. You can have soft tyres. What the heck? We might as well go for glory here. It's at the moment it's kind of hard to say whether the decisions we've made have been good or not. The engine's in trouble. I think we're going to tweak this now. If we're coming in anyway, now's the time to tweak repairs. Because they'll be complaining about that later. You can bet it. You can even bet on it, if you like. Going through his tyres like the proverbial fat guy and the hot dogs. Not that it really makes much difference at the current time. So there we go. Silvera, the only driver out on medium tyres, showing the bold leadership with which we take these races by the scruff of the neck. Hazel there seems to have a problem. Oh, he's out of fuel. Hazel's out of fuel. He ran out of fuel just before coming into the pits. Well, that puts me last 2 drivers on the track here, and I think that I have to put all the blame on the drivers. Certainly not on me. Certainly not on the strategy that I have employed so far. Comes out behind his teammate. possibly a good thing. Right, we're going to ease back on the fuel here. We need to stay out. Staying out is the only thing that is going to do us favours at this stage of affairs. Everyone else now coming into the pits, but frankly, we've dropped back so far that we are unlikely to be able to capitalise, but they are all coming back out on inters. What's going on? Do they know something I don't know? Oh, it's going to start raining again. Oh, they do know something I don't know. But this gives us a very narrow window of opportunity for Silvera to capitalise. In fact, put your foot down. Go for it. If we're going to have to come back in for another pit stop soonish, there's no sense in saving anything at all. Leave it all out there on the track. You've got the better tyres. You've got the better... Look at this. Absolutely belting it past Steve Mush there, who's driving like a little old lady. And I don't know, actually, I know lots of fairly quick little old ladies. That's a pretty poor comparison to be making. But Silvera clearly is currently the finest driver on the track. Nick Hazel, meanwhile, has knackered his brakes. That kid's he's a one-boy wrecking ball. Silvera closing the gap all the time, but she does not have a lot of time left back out on the track. We're going to ease back on the fuel now, but don't worry about the tyres. Just shred. There we go. She's doing it. Tell you what, stuff the fuel. Punch it, punch it, punch it. Drive. Go, go, go. And look at her go. Eat my dust, swans. Yes, that's what we say to every swan that we happen to come across. Silvera now chasing for the engine sounding unhealthy. We don't care. We're driving really fast. We're having to drop back the fuel now because she's on low fuel. Here comes the rain again. All of those intermediate drivers looking smug. But, oh, flipping heck. All right, get in. Get yourself some inters while you're here. Well, that's a disappointment that this young buck of a driver is incapable of treating his car with the kind of respect that it's due. We've already fixed his engine. We're now fixing his brakes. I did say at the outset that this was going to be a race all about reliability above all else. And clearly we are failing that challenge. But we're going back with Silvera, who has half a lap of fuel left in her. Press the pit button. Don't assume you've pressed it. Actually press it. It's a critical thing to do. Let's juice it right back up again. The park condition, she was great. The engine is wrecked. This is clearly down to my aggressive strategy rather than anything else. Do we trust the engine? No, we're going to fix it. We're going to blow all of the bonuses that we've made on the track so far. But you know what? That was an exciting period in race history. People will talk about that session from Silvera for many, many seasons to come. She really did put her foot down and make it count. She's complaining about the tyres, but she's about to get fresh tyres, so I don't know why she's complaining. Just ran out of fuel as she got into the pits. Hazel's in. Silvera's in. They're both in. We're in and making it happen. So you don't care about the tyres because you're on inters now. They last forever. Silvera's getting back out in 17th, which sounds all right until you realise that it's Hazel in 18th, and therefore there's really nothing to celebrate. The forecast is for rain now. It looks like for the remainder of the race, but we can't see beyond lap 17 at the present time. If that keeps up, we are going to want wet tyres rather than inters. And we're going to see what the other teams do because they're going to be coming in for fuel again relatively soon. So we should expect to see some tyre changes coming about as a result of that. Here they go. They're coming in now. Roe's gone back out on full inters, as is Ruto. Nobody's opting for wets. Interesting choice. They clearly believe that it's not going to get much wetter than it is already. Well, we'll see how that works out from. Yeah, every driver in the race now coming into the pits. Hopefully there will be an enormous collision as they exit. But I don't think we could get that lucky. Silvera's managed, due to these pit stops having happened, to pull up to 14th overall. But as you can see, she is much... Oh, who's that in second? Plastic. Was that Plastic there was having trouble? Maybe out of fuel. Mendes, though, really, really hammering. I need to know what Mendes is currently doing. Just driving faster. Okay, then. This is getting scary. Got warnings about a few parts, says Silvera. Well, we've got tons of fuel left in the tank. The rain's still coming down. Let's have a look at the actual condition. The brakes don't look good. The suspension doesn't look good. The tyre degrees, yeah, also doesn't look good. So we'll push her back down to neutral there. What else we got here? Yeah, it's suspension and brakes that are giving us trouble. And once again, reliability, and parts. What have you got going on? Suspension, brakes, engine. I only fixed that a couple of laps ago. What the hell's wrong with you? Silvera, meanwhile, is now up to 13th place. Stop looking at this car. Do I bring any of them in, or do we now chance it? Silvera there being blue flagged. We've got 3 laps left to go. It's very hard to say what the appropriate move is, but she's just not competitive, and it's getting worse. So we'll bring her in. The race, as we know it, largely now is done. We're not going to win. I think that's fairly safe to say. We'll put wet tyres on. Will we though? Will we put wet tyres on, or will we go with inters for the remainder of the race? What the heck? Let's put wet tyres on. It can't make any difference at this stage. We might as well, go for broke as far as the tyres are concerned. We'll put just a little bit more fuel in so that we can just, throw caution to the wind. The important thing is that we finish. So we're going to finish the race no matter what. We'll fix both of those. She can stay in the pits for a lap. It really doesn't make any difference now. And we'll get what we get from that. I'm going to bring Hazel in as well. I do want both drivers to finish the race. You can have inters, fuel. We'll make sure you've got plenty. Fix those, fix that, fix this, fix that, and fix that. If you would take a little better care of your car, that would absolutely be terrific. So it was Steve Mush that we saw earlier on dropping back through the pack in a dramatic fashion, and it was clearly because he had blown through all his fuel because he's still driving. So, there is nothing severely wrong with his car. Hazel's just not doing it. Silvera, not the race for her. And it's very disappointing. I was pretty optimistic with the new parts that we'd got that we'd be able to capitalise in this race, but we haven't. And I think that is also going to be the... oh, good. Yeah, taking a bit longer to tweak the engine. That's excellent to see as well. But Silvera's back out on the track with wet tyres, which is making her quite a bit slower than everybody else. It's the final lap anyway. It doesn't really matter at this point. Hazel's still in the pits. He's been in the pits now for a full lap. And has come out behind Steve Mush, but Silvera now has the problem that Mush is not far behind her. Let's see if she can finish up. No, she's not going to finish up unless we just hammer the car. We have to hope that Mush doesn't have enough fuel or tyres or something or talent to pick up the pace here. But he might. Although he is being blue flagged, and that's a good sign because he'll have to slow down to let whatever blue flag incidents is happening. Do not get done at the line, Silvera. There we go. Well, she says that sucked. I agree. That was absolutely rotten. And she did get done at the line. Brilliant. Well, that was not dandy. Our flirtation with different tyres had a dramatic effect for Silvera. She managed to capitalise. Had she come in one lap later, it could have been better still. But while everyone else was out on inters, it almost worked. But then part reliability just killed us in this race, having to make 3 pit stops. Nobody else made 3 pit stops. We got murdered by part reliability, and I'm going to find Gary and I'm going to see if I can fit his head down the back of a radiator. So what does that do for the drivers' standings? Well, Vanessa drops a load down to 10th overall now. That's terrible. Meanwhile, Nick Hazel hasn't actually moved. He's still in. Has he? No, he's dropped 2 places. He's down to 17th. No matter which way you cut it, this was a terrible weekend for Bulldozer Power. And we dropped 1 place down into 8th place. Now 7 points adrift of the teams that we were keeping pace with. I am unimpressed. So we've got some fans in. Mary King here, all caps. Bulldozer Power, I have painted my bedroom the same colours as your car. Other half's not happy. Doesn't know how to work caps lock. Does know how to use an apostrophe. Interesting. Motor Racing Magazine, Jiro Kagawa, Bulldozer Power can do a lot better than that. You reckon? Apparently Nicholas Hazel just said so. What does he know? He's barely out of primary school. Terry Nahas, I want to see Bulldozer Power at the top. Just love those guys. Vanessa Silvera is so hot. Hashtag in love. I think we can all agree that Vanessa has a certain something about her. So there we go, both drivers picking up a little bit of experience. The chairman, however, not overjoyed, I would imagine. Yeah, it wasn't good. So we'll be back next time. Although Vanessa's got a new unlock, light-footed with intermediate tyres. Intermediate tyres wear more slowly. Big whoop. Yeah, anyway, thank you very much for watching. I've been Colonel Failure. Bulldozer Power will return, and hopefully we will not have quite as disastrous a race next time as we did this time. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the race. Subscribe if you've not yet done so. Hit up at Bulldozer Power on Twitter for your feedback on this race. You are almost certain to get a reply. I can't guarantee it won't be anything other than pithy. I've been Colonel Failure. Thank you for watching. Cheerio.